What is up, everybody? Welcome to the CheezeTalk podcast. I'm your host, Brian Rago, and tonight I am joined by a returning guest, another Packer backer, Todd. What is up?
How's it going, Brian?
It's
So
going.
excited.
Yeah, for sure. Let's rewind a little bit to the way the season ended last year, going into the draft. I know you went to the draft. Talk a little bit about that and this off season, preseason. What are your thoughts on everything so far?
The season ended as a disappointment. I mean, right? Like I had told you earlier, like my floor for the Packers, because I'm such an optimist, is NFC Championship game. Like that's the floor. Like we're gonna get there, and then we didn't. But we did give Philly a hard time. We did have a lot of injuries during the game, right? And I think that we played the eventual Super Bowl winners. We gave them their toughest out, and during the regular season and during the playoffs. So when Goody came out and said the time is now, that raised my expectations that something significant was going to happen. And during the offseason, signing Nate Hobbs and Aaron Banks didn't necessarily meet those expectations. But drafting Golden definitely did. Because I thought that he could be that difference maker that they needed on offense, along with a healthy Christian Watson, right? And so I was pumped. I was pumped for this season. I was super pumped for the season, and again with the expectation that NFC Championship game was within reach. 2 weeks ago, that changed. Adding Micah Parsons, I thought was phenomenal before he had even played a game. Something happened to him that was different from his rookie year to the rest of the 3 years that he spent in Dallas. There was something that happened, and I'm a firm believer that part of what makes people succeed is their environment. And I think that environment in Dallas is one of the brand is first, right? The Cowboy brand is first. Winning is second. If you can go out and have a podcast and it gets people talking about the Cowboys, they're okay with that, right? Because winning's second. But in Green Bay, winning's first. And I think coming to this atmosphere and coming to Green Bay is exactly the thing that unleashes rookie Micah Parsons.
Yeah, and he had that quote saying that coming to Green Bay, people are like, there's nothing to do, and he said maybe this is what I needed in my life, and it reflects back to Charles Woodson. He always said when he came to Green Bay, he was so used to being in Oakland, and he was like, yeah, I get done with practice, I go back to my condo and I read a book. It's like, I mean, wow. I mean, he played great in Oakland, but he played. I think his better years in the NFL were with the Packers, obviously because they won a title, mainly, and not mainly because of him, but he was a huge part of it. And I just think that
absolutely
the whole Jerry Jones, what was that he was trying to negotiate with Parsons without his agent, and trying to. It's just. I mean, it is what it is. It's. I'm glad he's in Green Bay. Still can't believe he's in Green Bay, to be honest. And yeah, is
I think that the difference between what the Packers defense could have been without Micah Parsons and what the Packers defense is now. I mean, of course, we'll never know, but they did play very good under Jeff Hafley last year. The corners, everybody, you go back to offseason and everybody's ragging on the defense, and they fail to mention that we're a top 10 defense. Like in EPA per play and all the things that everybody wants to always account for, they forget that the Packers were pretty good at defense. They were good at takeaways. I'm kind of hopeful now that if the defense balls out the way that they do, that Jeff Hafley may not get as much credit because he has Micah Parsons. And so we may get to keep him for an extra couple seasons. So that's the bandwagon I'm on right now of going on Twitter and liking everybody that says Jeff Hafley is a horrible coach and that nobody should look at him as a head coach for at least 5 years. Like, I'm all over retweeting those and liking those because I feel the exact same way. Like, we need to keep this dude however we can.
I had a picture made of him. It's he's in a, can you see, he's in a chef's hat.
Yeah.
Chef Hafley.
Yeah, there we go.
No,
awesome.
You mentioned, Micah Parsons and our defense, and I've been saying way before we even got Micah Parsons, I'm sure you've heard me say it. If you're not to that quarterback in that 4 to 5 second window, our secondary is going to get torched. And it's not just with the Packers, it's pretty much how it goes in football, right? You got to get to that quarterback, you got to disrupt him, you got to make him make the bad decision. And his first game with the Packers, he had 29 defensive snaps. And the snaps that he was in, he was getting to the line, or the defense was getting to the quarterback like 2.4 seconds. So they're getting to the quarterback. And when he was out, it was like 3.6, 3.8 seconds. So that 1.5 seconds is huge. It's huge,
Yeah.
And Valentine looked good last night, and Nixon looked like an All-Pro last night. Surprisingly, it's just you. Some of these corners, they can't run all day with these receivers. You can't run for 5 or 6 seconds on a route. You're gonna get burned. You're gonna get tired. And I just think that, and with the extra attention that he's drawing, he's making everyone else on the defense better, obviously, and it's just great to see. And we haven't had that feeling in Green Bay for a while, so it's nice.
No, this is that little 2-3 year stretch where Clay Matthews was just the biggest beast.
Yeah,
like that's kind of the same. The Reggie years were definitely had this kind of feel. The reason I think this is a little bit different is because I think the surrounding talent around Micah Parsons, because we have spent so much draft capital on the defense, that it's finally being able to be unleashed as well. And so, Lucas Van Ness, that is insane. He's lining up inside. They've got Gary Van Ness and Micah Parsons on the field at the same time, and they're stopping the run, but they're also just blowing up offensive lines.
yeah. And what I like too is you see him lining out. He's lining at every position along that line. He's like on the left side. He's lining up on the nose tackle. He's lining up on the right side. And I've been saying, Lucas Van Ness, dude, you're 6'5", 272. Go out there and make an impact. And I've been saying all off season, he needs to have that third year jump. And he's definitely, by getting Micah Parsons, like I said, he's just making everybody on that line better. I mean, Rashawn Gary's like 5 sacks away from how many sacks he had last year. And we're only 2 games in.
I know.
I
know. That's absolutely crazy. And with Quay Walker and Cooper's just my favorite player. Like, he is such a menace. Every play, from sideline to sideline, he goes and he does not stop. And he's always around the ball. And I just love the effort that he puts in. Cooper is just amazing to me, and having him and Parsons on the field together, it's just like unbelievable how fast they are and what they were able to do to Jaden Daniels last night. Like, I mean,
They've
Nothing. They had
held
nothing in the run game. They had nothing in the. They had no scrambles. It's just absolutely insane.
they held. Damn it! Where do I have it written down? They held them to like 51 yards rushing. In the last two games, the
Yeah,
Packers have held the teams to like a total of like 96 yards combined rushing.
and and I saw a stat because I got done with work and then I wanted to see what all the talking heads said. So I was listening to all of the talking heads for about 3 hours before we got on this call, and there was a stat that came up that said this is the first time that the Packers have held their first two opponents to less than 250 yards each in each game since 1994. And that's the second year of Reggie White.
That's crazy.
And so, yeah, the first two games we have the opponents, and we're not talking about these aren't,
There are two
the worst
teams.
teams in
Last
the.
year, the Commanders were in the NFC against the Eagles, correct?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah, and they beat the Lions, who had the number one offense and the best record in football, and were the number one seed.
yeah.
So
And
we're
I've
not
been
just
saying too, people
beating.
don't want to say it, but I've been saying, or maybe Lions fans don't want to say it, but I think Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn were two of the main reasons why the Lions were as good as they were. Dan Campbell
They
can say
were.
all he wants, but when you're one of the best top three teams in the football the year previous, and then you lose two coordinators and you go out and you score two field goals against the Packers, who you just bull rushed last year. Granted, you lost three guys in the line, but if it's just I don't know. It's Packers have something special brewing in Green Bay for sure, and it's fun to watch.
It's so fun to watch, and I love the way the timing of everybody's kind of growing up the same way, or growing up at the same time and getting to their peak at the same time, right? Like we just talked about Lucas Van Ness. Devontae Wyatt is Carl
awesome.
Brooks, Wooden. Like those guys along the D line are just all maturing at the same time. And I hate losing Kenny Clark, right? Like Kenny Clark has been nothing but the best of the best kind of Packer, right? But those guys just needed more snaps. Like they just needed more snaps to get in there and gain the confidence to do the things that they're currently doing. And I don't know how like you said, I don't know how we're all going to pay them 3 years from now, right? And we're going to have to let some go. And we're going to have to reload and have backups. But that's the Packer way.
But
Like we
that
didn't
ain't
think.
gonna be just that way for the Packers. It's gonna be that way for any team those guys are gonna go to. You know what I'm saying? It's just gonna be
Right.
a league wide effect because you look at Micah Parsons, what he's making. Well, when it comes time for Hutch in Detroit to get he's gonna cripple Detroit. It's either you're gonna pay him or you're gonna let him go. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's gonna affect the league. Yeah, that we get more salary cap and revenue and stuff, but at some point,
But
it's like, what do you do?
so like, I mean, we've got Stackhouse now on a rookie deal. So he's locked in now for 4 years. Okay.
And Brinson
And
too.
Brinson too, right? And so he's locked in for 4 years. And so if we keep Wyatt, right, like we keep Wyatt like we did Kenny Clark, and we pay Wyatt, and then we've got those two as backups, and let's say we lose both Wooden and we lose Kobe
Brooks.
Wooden and Brooks. Yeah, we're getting draft picks for that. Like we're going to get some compensation for losing them in free agency. And all this talk about Romeo Dobbs going somewhere else, like I'm telling you, if it's not a second round pick, don't take it, Goody, because when he leaves, we're going to get a third round pick,
Yeah.
right? And
So
so,
Stackhouse, Iowa Joe was saying, was an undrafted free agent. He's on a 1 year
yeah,
deal with a possible tag next season. But I mean, still, that's the thing too is you look at our defense and be able to afford them. What about our offense? What about our running? What about our receivers? You got 5, 6 potential game-changing receivers. I said you pick the few that you want, whatever, and then use the rest for trade capital. Just trade them
Right.
before, and just that way you get something in return for them.
Right. And so, I mean, that's the thing. Like, if somebody's not coming to the table right now for, sorry, that's my dog. If somebody's not coming to the table right now for Dobbs with a second round pick, don't do it,
Right.
because wherever he's gonna go, they're gonna pay him enough money, and we're gonna get a third round pick out of it.
Right, and we just extended Christian Watson too on a 1-year deal.
So yeah, we got Watson locked in now. We got Golden. We've got Savion Williams. Okay, we're probably going to be able to keep Malik Heath. I mean, he's not going to go. We're going to be able to keep some guys. Jaden Reed now with the collarbone injury, like, who knows how that's going to affect the rest of his season. I mean, he's going to be out 5-6 games, something like that. And so who knows how that's going to work for him.
Imagine though, when he comes back from his injury, then hopefully shortly after you got Christian Watson coming in. So then you're going to have another guy that's going to be able to take off the top of the defense, and you're going to have Tucker Kraft and Musgrave wide open. Yeah. I mean, look at Tucker Kraft.
He's insane.
At one point last night, he had more yards than the whole Commanders defense.
Yeah, he's so crazy good. He's so good. And I have been trying, you know how in that Mean Girls movie, they're always like, shut up, it's never going to happen, fetch is never going to happen, or whatever that was, right?
Yep.
So I have been trying to get Muskcraft love, like the Muskrat love of the Captain and Tennille song. I've been trying to get that going, because I think that if the two tight ends could ever do good with Jordan Love, that would be kind of cool. But yeah, it's not going anywhere. I need to stop doing that. But yeah, Muskrat Love, I thought that was cool. But he signed a deal with Macaroni and Cheese, with Kraft Macaroni and Cheese, finally.
Yeah.
So they finally made that happen for him.
Yeah, it's just seeing how wide open he was, and he reminds me of, with the number Tanyan, and how he was with Aaron Rodgers. Just a little bit more dominant, I think, than Tanyan, but I'll take it. Packers have always been utilizing their tight end to be successful, so it's good to see.
There was a game, gosh, back in the 80s, but this was before we got Favre. But Paul Kaufman caught something from like Lynn Dickey, I think, and just hurdled a dude on the sidelines. And it was against the Bears. He hurdled the guy, and it was like the coolest thing I had ever seen at like 12 years old, or however I was when Paul Kaufman was. I was just like, oh my God, because you get preached by football coaches, never leave your feet, never leave your feet, never leave your feet, right? And then Paul Kaufman just does this hurdle over a linebacker. It was the coolest thing. It was absolutely amazing. But yeah, the Packers have had pretty good tight ends in the past, but I think Kraft is special.
Yeah, I mean, who do you think steps up as the next Packers superstar, or who do you think is a budding superstar right now?
This is going to sound odd, but I really like Darius Kennard. I think he is the Malik Willis of 2025.
Yeah, I mean, you had that holding penalty that got the touchdown by Reed called back, where he broke his collarbone, and Belton, he's gone. The next thing you know, you see there. I'm like 70. There's 70. Who's 70? Look it up. It's Kennard's out there, and it's like, yeah, they're going to try to use him as much as possible,
Yeah, and it's funny because, like, I don't know if his trajectory is star power, but if he can just come in and play solid snaps, if ever, Zach Tom goes down, hopefully never again, or Wallace or whatever. But I mean, the riches that the Packers have along the offensive line to just use Jordan Morgan as a guard, like that's insane. That your swing tackle is also your swing guard and is probably better than most guards on every other NFL team.
Yeah, it was crazy too. You mentioned Jordan Morgan, so he was our first round pick last year, right? And
yeah,
people were kind of on the fence about him, and so we're expecting big things out of him, because he's a first round pick. And then we're kind of down on Lucas Van Ness because because of his size and where we drafted him and this and that. And the next thing you know, in training camp, you got, Lucas Van Ness, he's just blowing up Jordan Morgan, in training camp and everything. And the next thing you know, preseason games come along and Van Ness looks good and Morgan's like one of the top rated linemen. It's like, so what were we really seeing with, Van Ness playing good against Morgan? Well, they're both elevated their play and they're both playing good, and it's just,
Right.
and Packers have always had the versatile line to where you can always sub in somebody and move up and down the line. I remember that COVID year when, you had like 3 linemen out and Aaron Rodgers was throwing to, Juwan Winfrey and all those guys. It's just,
Yes.
teams got to be able to adapt to that, especially on the line. People are like, "Oh, why are we drafting all these linemen?" Well, because your most valuable asset in offense is a quarterback that's being protected, and if he can stay up and he can throw the ball, then you got to make sure you can adapt to your lineman getting hurt.
Yeah, it's definitely it's like we have this ability to get these guys late in the draft or pick them up in free agency or get them off of someone else's scrap heap or whatever you want to say, and I think that goes to the fact that the Packers scout other teams like they're scouting college teams, right? Like they scout other pro teams like they're
Or they could
scouting
always
college
have
teams.
like just their college scouting notes and be like, hey, if this guy becomes free or if there's a chance we can get him, let's get him, and just kind of leave it off to the side and they kind of monitor guys they might have potentially
Yeah.
drafted that got taken.
So
Yeah. All right. Lost you for a second there, Todd.
yeah, sorry about that. I don't know. I'm in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin here, so
It's okay.
yeah. It's crazy because like you said, with that consistency or with that continuity is the word that we've been able to continue. Really starting with Ted Thompson and the way that they homegrown people who do the job.
Well, you even
And
think
those,
about losing Josh Myers. He was a good center for us. And like, what are we going to do? Oh, we'll just move Jenkins there and we'll fill Jenkins' spot with somebody like didn't even miss a beat, you know?
no,
So I
no,
mean, they're doing something right, and even going back to like the management for the Packers when Mark Murphy retired, and Carmen Policy when Ed Policy came in. Carmen was his father at San Francisco, but when Ed Policy came in, and I was like, yeah, he's gonna make a big splash. He's gonna do something, And that's when the Micah Parsons rumors weren't true yet or weren't put into action yet and everything. And I remember I met up with Iowa Joe at Lambeau Field for a. It was just in the parking lot, whatever. A bunch of guys are hanging out and talking football and stuff, and they're lighting off fireworks. I think getting ready for the last preseason game on the next day was a Saturday, and I'm like, yeah, they're just getting ready for lighting off the fireworks when they get Micah Parsons. And the next thing you know, they're making the trade for Parsons, and Ed Policy sure did make that swing, to try to make an impact right away. So
yeah, I think his I think that he's been in Green Bay for quite a while, right? I
yeah,
mean, they've kind of groomed him for this position. And I think that he is going to he didn't extend Goody and he did not extend Matt LaFleur. But I think what he did do is grant them permission if they can show the numbers. Him and Russ Ball sit down and they're like, okay, this is how we're going to pay Micah Parsons this much money. This is how we're going to be able to pay all the other people this much money. Blah blah blah. We're not going to cripple our team for the next 5 years because of this contract. I think he let him go for it and let the football people do the football things, right?
Yeah.
Like, look, if this doesn't work out for you, if you have Micah Parsons and this doesn't work out for you, then maybe I do need to look for a different general manager. Maybe I do need to look for a different coach. Like who that would be better, I have no idea because I think both of them do an excellent job. But I think because they're not under a long-term contract, he was like, let them. If this is what they want, then this is what they get. And if they produce, then we're going to lock them in for a long-term contract. And if they don't, then maybe we don't.
Yeah, and I think by doing that too, it kind of brought the best of both of those. Brought the best of Matt out and brought the best of Goody out. This is like, hey, make it or break it. Here's our. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna play a quick clip. I don't know. I'm sure you've seen this, but after the game last night, where they had Micah on the set, did you see that? Where
Yeah.
I'll play it for you quick. Just. So it's kind of lagging a little bit.
Darn internet.
Yeah.
But you're talking about the clip where they're saying "Thank you, Jerry," right?
Yeah, thought that was hilarious. How like Micah Parsons is just sitting there like he's like egging him on, like look where I'm at now. And I think in week 4 is going to be probably the game of the week in the NFL because you're going to have Parsons going against his old team down in Dallas, and hopefully he's. I think you're faster on turf than you are on grass, so I think he's gonna be after Dak at least for 3 or 4 sacks that game.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't see any games on the Packers schedule that aren't must see TV, right? Just when they play Cleveland, Myles Garrett versus Micah Parsons, right? When they play Dallas, of course, it's back in Dallas. When they have Cincinnati come, how are we going to handle Joe Burrow and the two-headed monster of wide receiver, right? And then Trey Hendrickson, right? Like who the Packers supposedly had interest in as well. Like all these games are just so the storyline are intertwined, and I think every game they have, there's going to be something interesting out. Some storyline outside of the game that makes it super interesting. And then you got the Steelers,
Yeah. The thing is, too, a lot of these teams, they have these quarterbacks as well. And are they facing a line as good as the Packers with the addition of Micah Parsons? No. You line up some psycho, you line up some psycho defensive front, and it's just you get Cooper and Quay Walker and Parsons and Van Ness hunting that quarterback down. He's going to get rid of that ball and just have massive turnovers.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And then so we play those 3 AFC Central teams, earlier in the season, and then we've got Baltimore at the end of the season. And so we get Lamar Jackson at the very end of the year. And if the Packers and the Ravens are both playing super well and have great records, like that's going to be a tremendous, tremendous game. Like that's going to be so.
I hope Jair plays. But I can't remember the last time I saw him go through a whole season without being hurt. So I won't hold my breath on that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sucks to see him go, but I just can't see myself paying somebody a lot of money with not guaranteed. Obviously nothing's guaranteed. I mean, any player that could get hurt, but it's just with his history, it's kind of hard to pay someone that's missed 17 games the last how many seasons, And
right.
I don't know. What are your thoughts on losing Jair?
I hated it because I loved the personality of Jair. I thought he brought something different to the team as far as like just the way he presented himself and just kind of how funny he was and the whole hua stuff and things like that. But then that also, I mean, that's part of the reason why that's part of the reason why he thought that he should be part of the coin flip and all the other things, right? Like, so there's a double edge to that. But gosh, when he was good, when he was on, I'll never forget that Justin Jefferson game. Like when he
Oh,
just
yeah.
shut down Justin Jefferson and the Vikings, like that was so awesome. That was so awesome. I mean, I still like him. I still cheer for him. I want him to do well, but not against the Packers.
Yeah,
But
and that's just it too. It's going to be week 17. Is he going to be on the IR? Is he going to be resting? Is he going to be? You just don't know. So, um, yeah, yeah. That game with the Bills and Ravens was crazy. Like it was like 4 minutes to go in the game, and the Bills are down by like 16 points, and then Henry never fumbles the ball, and he fumbled, and then the Bills scored, and then they still had 3 timeouts left, and they the ball. It's just crazy. That division is just bonkers. With those teams, they're fast teams too.
yeah, and Micah Parsons had that talk today. I saw when I was watching the Talking Heads on national media talk about. He had it during his after game talk. He was saying, defense wins championships. He goes, you look at what the Bills and the Ravens did, right? You're up by that many points and you can't get a stop, right? Like he said, if Jordan Love gets us 20 points, I feel we should win that game.
Yeah.
And that
Oh,
is
I mean,
so
I had
awesome to
that.
hear.
I had that tweet on X last night saying like feels like we should have like a billion points on the scoreboard because like we left so many points in the field because we just sputtered out, or you get 3 straight runs and you punt it. It's like, come on, man. What happened to this all gas no break?
Right. Well, I mean, they took their shots. Like we overthrew Matthew Golden on that one play, and but that was really close. I mean, that was super close, and he is so fast. On a side note, though, like the whole Micah Parsons #1 thing was, I thought, crazy about the Curly Lambeau stuff, and it's unofficially retired, not really retired kind of thing. And I just think it's kind of cool that Parsons got to wear that. And then I was thinking while that was going on, I was like, what's the other unofficial retired number we have? And that's Paul Hornung, right? #5.
Yep.
And it's not officially retired, but what was Paul Hornung's nickname?
Right.
Golden Boy.
Yeah.
Golden Boy. Right. So the Packers might have missed an opportunity to give Matthew Golden #5 and have him be the Golden Boy, like Paul Hornung. I don't know. Again, that's probably something I'm trying to make happen, and I just need to stop. But
No, I mean
I
it's
thought that
cool
was
too how Parsons like he recognizes the history of the game. Like when they brought him into Green Bay for when they made the trade, he got into Lambeau, and he's like, yeah, I saw Reggie White and Brett Favre and Bart Starr and all those guys on the wall. He goes, I want my name to be up there too. Like, I want to be there, So I just think he's like got a breath of fresh air in Green Bay, and he's gonna make the best of it. He wants to be out there on the field more. He wants to be out there more.
he always was petitioned. Like when they were talking about that, they were like, yeah, he's petitioning and get out there more. He's petitioning and get out there more. And it's just like, he said in his press conference, he was like, I only know go. Like, I only know go. And so, yeah. Oh my gosh. I think that's my boss from work. I told her today that I was going to be on your podcast. I shared the
Awesome.
link. I shared the link in a Teams chat. So yeah. Oh, thank you, Shari. That's so funny.
But
That's
no, I
great.
just think it's like it's just I still can't believe that Parsons is a Packer. He's
Me
like
either.
you think of like linebackers, and he almost I mean, he came from the same college as LeVar Arrington, wore the same number at Penn State, pretty much the same play style, but his career is better than Parsons. When he was in the pro. So it's what they say, 3 or 4 time All Pro, and it's just
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And so that's definitely my boss. Um, but Rasheed Walker was his good friend in college,
they were in the
and
same
I
recruiting
think
cycle at Penn State.
yeah, and I
Yep,
think and they had to practice against each other, right, constantly in
yep,
practice, and so I think having Rasheed here for a few years um, really helps the adjustment for Micah Parsons to like just go back to playing ball. Like
yeah,
this isn't Dallas. You don't have to go and do a bunch of things. I know we talked about making a Parsons cheese curd for great cheese, but I mean, like, he doesn't have a lot of other commitments, right? That he has to do.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy, and to mention that you mentioned the Rasheed Walker, the factor, and you look back, who was his former coach? Who just moved back to Green Bay? Mike
yeah,
McCarthy. Who was his
yep,
agent? The same agent as Jordan Love and Xavier McKinney. I
yep,
remember on that podcast was Jordan Love, or on that interview, Jordan Love was talking to Parsons at the Super Bowl, like teasing him out, he's coming to
yeah.
Green Bay, and here we
And
are.
Parson just he
It's
just
like, all
laughed.
right,
He was like, "Yeah, that's never going to happen." But yeah, Xavier McKinney and Love and Parsons all have the same agent. He's also an agent for a couple other Packer players. Um, And I just think, like, if you have a good working relationship with people, right? Like, there just needs to be, because the NFL is so careful about tampering and things like that, right? But
are they?
like, well, supposedly, but if you're an agent has to go and talk to the Packers about another player, right? And that other player, let's say, is Xavier McKinney or whoever is up for a contract extension for the Packers or whatever. But he also represents Micah Parsons, who is dissatisfied with where he's at right now. Like, who's monitoring the conversation? You just have to have a good reason to get in the door, right?
You go back
That
and look at
and that
the Cowboys' last preseason game when he was walking into the game eating those nachos, cheese, right? I mean, come on, he knew he was coming to
There we
Wisconsin.
go. There we go. That was a sign. That was a sign. Everybody else missed it. You got it. This is the conspiracy theory we need
Yeah, I
to
mean,
push right now.
when he was on that training table taking naps, you knew he checked out. You knew it.
That's awesome. I love that conspiracy theory. Let's get that going with the he was eating nachos with cheese, and so that was a sign that he was coming to Green Bay. That's
I don't know.
great.
I think I
That
made a meme about on the table like me when I eat too much cheese, and that had the picture of him on the table sleeping.
yeah, there we go. There we go. That's too funny. That's too
Yeah.
funny. Oh my gosh.
Which which game on the schedule, Todd, do you think is our biggest test yet?
What was that again? I'm sorry, you were breaking up. I missed that.
Which game um, on the schedule is the biggest test?
Um, Gosh, I don't. You know, maybe if Pittsburgh is undefeated, that might be one. Baltimore at the end of the year, maybe one. Um, we play Denver, right? I think that's a sneaky game.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm guessing right. I'm gonna say right now we gotta pounce the Bears. We gotta pounce them and get revenge from last year. Granted, we beat them the
yeah,
one game with a illegal block field goal, and then they beat us the second game with our second string in and missing people and whatever. We just got to do that and at least take one game from the Vikings. We gotta avenge our showing last year in the NFC North for sure because that was brutal.
yeah. think 4-2 is the floor. I think losing one to the Lions and losing one to Minnesota is completely acceptable, but we got to curb stomp the Bears. Like
Yeah.
they're so Bearsy right now. Like
And
it's
the reports coming out about Caleb Williams too. Like
yeah,
the reports they had to dummy down the system so we could understand it. Come on, you know.
yeah. They again. I don't. I think that going to whatever environment you're going to is the thing that helps people mature or become better or whatever, right? Like, I mean, in all walks of life. And I think that's true with Micah Parsons. And I think Caleb Williams going to that cesspool of Chicago, just, you know, nothing good happens there. It's like the poltergeist of NFL franchises. Quarterbacks go there to get sucked into the TV or whatever. Like they just they never do it. They never do it right. And look at how good Justin Fields has played both in Pittsburgh now and with the Jets since he left Chicago.
How long have I been saying that? I said they should have kept Justin Fields and drafted Marvin Harrison Jr.
There you
Then I
go.
said that, and I even said last year. I remember saying that when he went to Pittsburgh, that he was going to beat out Russell Wilson for the starting spot, and he did. You know, the Bears are dumb.
Yeah.
They don't like they expect to get like this quarterback, and he's going to change the franchise in 6 games. They gave up on him. They're going to do the same thing to Caleb Williams. It's
Yeah.
they can't manage quarterbacks in Chicago.
Well, and I mean, everything starts at the top down, right? Like, I mean, we have our crazy fans in Packerdom, right? Like, we have people that just will say whatever, right? But for the most part, most of us are fairly middle of the road. We're patient, right? I mean, heck, didn't we give like Bart Starr like 6 years of coaching? In the 70s there, like just because he was Bart Starr, we let him coach for 6 years and I think they made the playoffs one time, but that was, or maybe they didn't. I don't remember exactly, but like we're a very patient kind of fan base. And I think that's because we don't have an owner who's not like making things happen because he's, or they are, impatient, right? And so we always have this patience kind of thing going on, and we're kind of all kind of middle of the road. And Bears fans are just like their owner, they're not patient. And if if year two doesn't work out for this coaching staff, they're going to move on to the next hottest coordinator. In 2027, they'll go on to the next hottest coordinator. And they're not going to be patient with their coaches. They're not going to be patient with their players. They're just not.
And they're going to move.
So
They're going to move out of Chicago and go to Arlington Heights. I mean,
yeah,
you're gonna upset Bears faithful doing that. They're like the Jacksonville Jaguars of the NFC. It's
yeah, and they're going to be a dome too, right? So the Packers are going to be the last outdoor stadium in the NFC North.
yeah.
That's a home field advantage. Like, please, everybody else get a dome, right? And then have to play that one game when you come to Green Bay
Yeah,
and have to play inside.
get a dome and still get torched by the Packers.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's
Speaking
crazy.
of domes, I
It's
had a
crazy.
question for you. If Lambeau had a roof, would it lose its magic?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Yeah.
It's football.
Yeah.
You know.
I think part of the mystique that the Packers have been able to grow with all the renovations that they've done with Lambeau Field, because I remember when they were doing the first renovations to Lambeau Field, like it was a huge deal, and the stock sales and things like that went on with it. But to be able to have something that's like a daily tourist attraction, even in the off season, right? Like people love to come to Lambeau regardless of whatever the day is, the day of the year is. People have their weddings there. People have their engagements there. People have all kinds of things at Lambeau Field.
I had my
But then to
rehearsal
hear
dinner
Micah
there.
Parsons say, there you go, you had your rehearsal dinner there. But then to hear Micah Parsons say that it was a first-class organization, he's never had better facilities than what he has right now, right? Like to hear him say that, well, coming from the richest franchise in the NFL, to say that he's coming to Green Bay and this facility is as good, if not better, than what he had in Dallas, and the Packers are able to generate revenue from that facility every day of the year. It's phenomenal. Like nobody would have predicted that. Nobody would have predicted that back in the 80s when they started doing the things and having these ideas about making Lambeau some kind of tourist attraction all the time.
Yeah, I'm thinking, if I remember correctly, I think like with the pro shop and everything, I'm pretty sure they're open like 364 days a year. The like Lambeau,
The Hall of Fame used to be not in Lambeau Field. It
right?
used to be across the street where the was it Boyd Dollar? Whatever the receiver is that's catching the ball like that, that statue, that's where the Hall of Fame used to be. So it was
Yeah,
separate from Lambeau Field back in the day. And so putting all that together and doing all the things they've done and then the Titletown District and all those things that I mean, it's phenomenal. We are so blessed as Packer
yeah,
fans not to have an owner. Like it's so insane. We feel, we take it for granted, but we're so lucky.
yeah. It's crazy. Like I kind of live on the south end of De Pere, kind of back back by Straight Cheese and everything, and going in towards like heading north from South De Pere and north whatever, you can just see on the horizon, you can see the big white lit up G and the flashing lights above it, and it's like there's not a place. I mean, you're out in the middle in the city, and next thing you know, you look to your side, and there's just Lambeau Field. You're just driving like down Oneida or driving on Ridge Road, and it's just like boom, there it is. It's like you having it, just it's just crazy like how accessible it is and how close it is, and it's not like it's in some big city. It's a huge stadium in a small town.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I don't know. It's one of the best things about being a Packer fan is um, being able to go and just if I have family, not even family, if I have friends come in from Georgia and they're like, "Hey, what do you want to do? Let's go to Lambeau. Let me take you to Lambeau Field." It doesn't matter what day it is. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter because it's always going to be there, right? It's always going to be open. I can take them to the Hall of Fame. They can see the movies. They can see all the things about the Packers. I can try to convert them, right? Baptize them in the baptize them in the pro shop, right? And get them some a cheese head, right? Like so. I mean, it's just it's awesome. It's
yeah, and
awesome.
that even that 3-story Lombardi Trophy in the atrium is just awesome. It was in my opening
Yeah.
video. It's just you have a bad day, you're 10 minutes from Lambeau Field. Let's just go there and forget about everything for a bit and just soak in the
Yeah.
Packers, and hopefully you leave there in a better mood.
Yeah. It always makes the day better. That always makes the day better.
It does. I mean,
Man.
you don't have to. I mean, you don't have to go there and spend money to have a good time there. You can go there and just walk around inside the atrium. You can walk in the pro shop. You can look at stuff, and you can just. It's just like you said. It's like a cathedral. It's all the greats that have been there, and all the magical plays that have happened there, and it's just something special.
Absolutely. And it's something even more special this year because I don't think I've ever been this optimistic about the Packers. I don't know where I can go with my optimism because I always think the ceiling is a Super Bowl, but like maybe I'm thinking dynasty. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking three-peat. I don't know. But like we got to get one first, right? But I just I just really think I just really think that this year is different. It feels different to me. It even feels different than like the Reggie White acquisition, the Charles Woodson acquisition. This just feels different. And I think it's because we had good players to begin with, right? It's not like we're getting Micah Parsons and then we have to build around him. We've got good players. It's just huge.
Yeah, and it's crazy to see how his addition is making Keyshawn Nixon and Carrington Valentine look like all pros out there.
They're all pros. He had 5 PBUs, 5 pass breakups. I don't think he had 5 PBUs last season. He had 5 PBUs in one game.
Yeah,
It's just incredible.
even against the Lions, Nixon was kind of trailing his receiver a couple of times, but it could have been miscommunication and stuff. But for the most part, he has the speed to make up for it. I said the same thing about Eric Stokes. So you know,
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was a swing and a miss. But hey, that's what we do with first round picks, right? So who cares if we gave them to Dallas for 2 years?
that's the thing too. I mean, people are like, oh, first round picks for 2 years. Packers finished top in the NFC the next 2 years. Pick 30, 31. What have we done with our late round first pick in the last? I mean, we've had good draft classes, but I mean, I
They
don't
weren't
know.
in the first round though.
I definitely think it was
The
worth
first
it.
round always the other 6 rounds of the NFL draft always made up for whatever we swung and missed on in the first round, right? Like that's
Yeah,
how you judge the draft class, right? And now Rashawn Gary turned out great, but there was people screaming about that for 3 years. Lucas Van Ness may turn out great, but people have been screaming about him. People are going to scream about Jordan Morgan. People are going to scream about Wyatt, right? But like,
right.
hey, they're there and they're playing really, really good right now.
Yeah. You're talking about the number 1 and the number 0 and Paul Herning's number 5. What is in your eyes the most iconic Packers jersey number in team history?
15.
Okay.
15's got to be at Bart Starr.
Yeah, for sure. I was thinking
To me,
15 or Reggie White.
I think whenever I see anybody wear 21, I think of Charles Woodson. I
Yeah,
can't shake that out of my brain.
yeah.
So
You have the occasional
21 are
haha
probably
Clinton Dix uniforms out there, but
yeah. I had hopes for him because he had 21, but like it just didn't pan out, right? But
yeah,
great name though. Great name.
yeah. Good guy. He giving back to the
Yeah,
community. Do you want to play a quick round of Packers rapid fire? I have about 10 questions to ask you with
sure.
short answers. More annoying rival, Lions or Bears?
Bears.
Dorsey Levens or Edgar Bennett?
What was that last one? Sorry.
Dorsey Levens
You're
or
breaking up a
Edgar
little bit.
Bennett?
Ooh, Edgar Bennett.
Robert Brooks or Greg Jennings?
Mm, I hate to ask you again, but I need to hear that again because you were breaking up.
Robert Brooks or Greg Jennings?
Oh, Greg Jennings.
Welcome back.
Thanks. The hoodie never gets old for Greg Jennings.
Okay.
That hoodie game was good.
Yeah. In that Madden game too, where he had that broken leg and he scored a touchdown. You ever see that clip? There's a
Yeah,
Bubba Franks or Jermichael Finley?
Jermichael Finley.
Sunday night, Monday night, or Thursday night at Lambeau Field?
Sunday night.
Draft day or opening day kickoff?
Opening day kickoff. Draft was cool, but opening day kickoff.
Yeah. Better game, snow or rain?
Snow.
Jordy Nelson or Devontae Adams?
Ooh. Devontae. I love Jordy Nelson, but Devontae Adams,
Yeah.
he's a better route runner. He was such a good route runner. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he was quick too.
People just had defensive backs just had cement shoes when they went up against Devontae Wyatt or Devontae Adams.
Yeah, for sure. If you could bring back one legend in their prime, who is it?
Charles. Charles Woodson.
For sure. That's who I'd bring back for sure. Got three more questions for you, then we'll wrap it up. How's that sound?
Okay.
Who has a breakout season this year, do you think?
Who had the what? I'm sorry.
Who do you think will have the breakout season this year?
Breakout year.
We lost Todd. I think Devontae Wyatt's going to have a breakout year for sure. Let me see if I can get him back on. And that is going to do it for tonight's episode of the CheezeTalk podcast. I am your host, Brian Regal. Thank you for joining me. Have a good night.